Hi, my name is Dr. Raj Juneja. Come join my session online where I talk about chairside dentistry and in particular 3D printing.
In our third session, we have this doctor who is an innovator and he loves digital technology. He incorporates everything that is the top-notch technology in his practice, where he's focused in cosmetic dentistry, implants, aesthetic restorations, and he will show us about his Chairside 3D printing workflows with all the best and the newest technologies in the market. Welcome, Dr. Juneja.
Thank you. Thank you, Marina, for that introduction. Thank you. So everyone, I'm super excited to be invited back at exocad to speak in front of you guys about a topic that's, like Marina highlighted, I am all for digital dentistry. As soon as that scanner came and I saw it, my eyes lit up. More than one wedding day. And the Alginet went out of the window. I was never a fan of taking impressions and all of that. But then since then, things have developed so much. It's not just about the scanner, right? Things have developed and they keep on developing so much. So it's sometimes so hard to keep up with digital technology. But when I speak, I present to other dentists and my colleagues, and I think about it in my own clinical practice, I don't think of digital technology as just something that, we should just kind of bow down to and think, oh my God, because there's so much out there that this is just too high level for us, or it's for the future. We should think of digital technology as something that's going to grow our businesses. It's going to help patient care and ultimately become part of our daily workflow. So I only will present technology and only present workflows that I do every single day, because I end up using a lot of technology and sometimes throwing it in the bin. And I would never ever share or just speak about a workflow that I don't do every single day. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, and I'm really happy to speak in front of you guys, and hopefully that comes through in my presentation. Because when I'm thinking about 3D printing, when I'm thinking about 3D veneers, and to be honest with you, with anything to do with my business and to do with my patients, or a new workflow, I always think about the why. What is the problem I'm facing, and why do I change what I'm doing right now? Because if you don't have a problem, why change it? And if you see this new piece of technology, why incorporate it? And that why can be very different for everyone. The why could be increasing your revenue, improving treatment outcomes, decreasing chairside time, creating USP, all these things that I put up on the screen. And that why is very individual to every single person that's sitting here. Whether you're a lab owner, an associate dentist, practice principal, you own multiple clinics, that why is very different. I'll share with you my why about 3D printing and also in particular 3D printed veneers. So I used to, at the beginning of my career, do lots and lots of Invisalign, an orthodontic treatment finished by composite bonding, right? Loads and loads of composite veneers, right? And also porcelain veneers. So I really gave patients two options. You can either have composite bonding with me at the end of your orthodontic treatment or pre-ortho, or you can have porcelain veneers. So patients who were on a budget would, I'll be completely honest with you, because of financial reasons, will pick composite bonding. Patients who were the ones that I rolled the red carpet for would pick porcelain veneers, right? That was the honest truth that was happening in my clinic. And so then over time, I have seen the patients that I've been doing composite veneers on and composite bonding, I have seen limitations in my clinic. And that's the beauty of sometimes being in the same place for a long time and having your own business, etc., and seeing patients regularly as a general dentist, is that you see those complications. And I started to see chipping, wearing, staining. So I thought, okay, I need to think about a different solution that meets my patients' budgets, but at the same time gives them a great outcome, and at the same time, the longevity of treatment should be there as well, and more predictable workflows. And the other thing I started thinking is, Raj, you only have 8 hours a day. You want to build a scalable business. You want to build a practice. You want to build multiple practices. How are you going to create a uniform structure in our clinic that all my associates are providing the same level and quality of treatment. So how do we do that? So that's when we came up, well, this is my, sorry, I should really introduce myself. I should have started with that. For those of you who don't know me, which is most of you, my clinic is called Face Smile Dental Clinics. We have clinics in South Buckinghamshire. We have an online skincare brand as well. And we actually set up this clinic a few years ago as one site, and now we're growing into multiple sites. South Buckinghamshire is just outside London. It's nice, leafy towns, and an amazing place to work as well. So, how, right? How are we going to do this? How am I going to achieve my why, right? The single tool I would say that changed my career was an iTero scanner. So I actually bought my own iTero scanner when I used to work for other dentists because I saw the value in it, and my principals back then did not see the value in it. So I bought my own scanner, and that was one thing. That's why I'm so passionate about the scanner, because it wasn't just a scanner to take scans for patients to start treatment or Invisalign treatment. As most of you know, it's a communication tool, and it has such a profound impact on everything that we do, right? But something that is not talked about the iTero scanner as much is its capabilities as a chairside scanner, because it was never really seen like that. It was either seen as, okay, fine, now we know the communication side and all the oral health suite, and then using it for Invisalign as well. But what about for chairside dentistry? What about for same-day restorations, right? I had the privilege a couple of years ago at this conference to introduce the iTero design suite. So I wanted to start off with this, and I'll move on to talking about the 3D veneers. Because the iTero design suite, again, powered by the iTero Lumina and the iTero family, and the Align family, is now bridging the gap between the scanner and the final manufacture of the restorations that we want to 3D print, right? And it's providing dentists with a CAD software, which is not complicated. It's easy to use. It has a widget on the side that helps them through it to provide restorations chairside to patients, right? So the mantra is scan, design, and print. Now, what can we do chairside? So we can design simple models, we can design splints, we can do prosthetic designs as well, and it has a 3D printing connectivity as well. So what it does is it empowers dentists to start designing chairside whilst the patient is there to provide the same-day restorations. Right? Now, do I think this is, now before all the lab technicians start throwing tomatoes at me, do I think this replaces the lab technician or the CAD designer? Absolutely not. No way. CAD design in its own right, it's its own speciality. However, what I do believe is it gives the dentist some control over CAD designs for more simpler workflows. So in my clinic, what do we do? So for patients like this who've come in, they've got, for example, a bridge which is failing. They've come to you in a problem. They want a solution on the same day. So we take off the bridge. We see a gap. We see that there's failing teeth. What do we do now? Well, let's take a scan. Let's go into the iTero design suite. We can very simply design a eggshell temporary. We can 3D print that eggshell temporary. And by the way, while that's being designed, we can go ahead and place our implants all on the same day. What happens is, after a while, I was talking about the USP, after a while, patients start to recognize that your clinics are a little bit different. You have a lot more technology. And so your cast of patients that are coming from you, the net of patients, starts to increase. So no longer are you just serving the local population in your towns and villages. So this patient comes to me from, I believe, Manchester. He's come from far away and is having the treatment on the same day. So the implants are placed while the bridge is being printed. And then I go ahead and then once that's done, go ahead and fit the bridge in. So I believe this iTero Design Suite is now empowering the dentists to be able to provide this for patients, right? And it's a great USP. Imagine this patient then going back home and telling her friends about the experience she's had. And the friends go, yeah, I don't mind traveling to see that particular clinic or group of clinics if that's what we can provide, right? But then, how about where does the lab come in, right? And in that chairside dentistry workflow. So I'll explain this using this particular case. So this is another patient now wants to improve her smile. She's got tooth surface loss and just overall wants an improvement in the smile. So you can see that. And we also, as Elaine mentioned about motivational mock-ups, and I'll show a case about that as well. We do the same thing. We take the scan and the photos, which then go off to our CAD technicians. So this is where we empower our labs, right? Our lab technicians, together with us, we do our digital planning and provide the ideal smile design for the patient. We communicate that to the patient, make sure that the patient is on board, and then we go ahead and provide the treatment. So the scan is taken. So in this particular case, I don't know if you spotted, she had a restoration, an old composite restoration on the upper left one. We went ahead and removed that restoration, put a retraction cord in, and other teeth are all virtually non-prep. Took a scan, went back to our lab technician, got our CAD design done. We approved the CAD design. We then 3D printed. So these are the individual shells of the 3D printed veneers. Does the CAD technician have to be in the same country? No. Does the CAD technician have to be on site? No. So if you are a lab owner, if you are a CAD technician, if you are providing these services, now chairside dentistry is not something to think about as your enemy, but actually a new set of a service that you can now provide to doctors worldwide, because you can connect with anyone, right? You can connect with any doctor, because then that doctor can then go ahead and using any 3D printer. And that's the great thing about going through this workflow, starting with the iTero scanner, is that everything is open format, right? So you can print using any 3D printer that you want. I always believe in empowering your team, because this workflow is not possible. You as a doctor is not going to be able to see the patients and do the manufacturing side as well, especially when it comes to 3D printing. You can, but it's not really the best use of your time. You rather see more patients. So then empowering your nurses and giving them the right training and support is great. And the way I choose my 3D printer, yes, is based on the technology, but also with the resellers and to see who gives me the best support training. So my team is trained. So it's all well and good us coming to conferences like this, seeing technology, but if we can't communicate that to our team and train our team, it's not really going to go anywhere. You're not going to have a scalable business, right? And that's the key. You want so much support. That's my daughter there, and she was learning about 3D printing, and they actually have a module in school about 3D printing. So this is the new generation that terms 3D printing to some of our patients will be like, whoa, Raj, are you sure about this? It's going to become common for our patients. So we need to keep up with them. So this particular case, that was the initial situation, and the 3D printed veneers were fitted. Now, yes, I absolutely agree. Porcelain veneers or ceramic, and a ceramist's work aesthetically is always my preference. And then in our clinic, the middle option is the 3D printed veneers, right? But we are getting there, and it's from a patient's acceptability point of view and the aesthetic point of view and their budget, it's an absolutely game changer, and far better than freehand composite bonding, which I was doing, and I saw all the problems with that. And I'm the first one to say that we have stopped doing any freehand composite bonding apart from composite edges in the clinic. No, it's like a rule in our clinic. We just don't do it anymore, right? Now, let me tell you one thing. This is actually not my case. This is actually one of my associates' case, right? And this is the beauty of this treatment. Why am I showing you my associate, one of my dentist's case, right? Obviously, I've trained him, etc., and we've gone through the workflow. It's because while this case was happening, and I'm not being arrogant here, I was actually on holiday. Because in my clinic, my associate was able to scan. I was able to communicate via what Christian spoke about in the morning, about asynchronous communication, plan the case with him. My CAD technicians were able to design the CAD work. My nurses, he was able to obviously prep the case. My nurses were able to manufacture because they had been trained, and then he went ahead and fitted. So as a scalable model of a group of clinics or a clinic, right, this works. Without the dentist or the practice principal or the clinic owner having to physically see every single patient. Because has a ceiling, has a limitation of growth. So you have to have a system. And if the system works, we have a saying in our clinic, if the clinic wins, we all win. So if the system works, we all win. And that's why the whole team is on board with the system. So let's talk about another case, slightly different. So this is one of my cases. So I thought, so you guys think I actually do some work. So Angela's come to see me. She's actually flown in from Cyprus, right? And she's come in, she's got some tooth surface loss, she's got crowding upper and lower spacing in the upper arch, crowding the lower arch, and an edge-to-edge bite. And she, as most of my patients say, Raj, I want my treatment today, and I'm flying back in 4 days, and that is my common practice. 4 days, I'm going back to Cyprus. Let's do this treatment. So we took a scan of the patient, and again, we go ahead and go into mock-up stage. So for a lot of my patients, not all of the patients, for a lot of my patients, it does take them a little bit of convincing to have orthodontic treatment first. Because they're like, yeah, don't worry, I know the tooth is out of arch, just prep it, Raj. That's what it is, let's just prep the tooth. It's fine. You're far more worried about it than I am. Which is most of the case, most of the time. Us doctors are far more worried about drilling teeth than patients. So we had, no, let's go ahead and take our scans, take our photos, send them to our CAD designer. Let's get an ideal mock-up done. Let's 3D print that model. We can do that. We don't have to waste a lot of money back and forth from a lab. We can 3D print a model. And is it fair to say that 3D printing a model for an external lab is probably not the most profitable treatment? Right? You rather be doing full arch cases and ceramic work, right? That's more profitable. That's better lab chairside time in some cases, right? So you don't care if the dentist is 3D printing their own model. It doesn't matter. So we go ahead, 3D print that model, take a putty stent of that, put some Luxative temp in there, pop it into the patient, take a photo, take our videos as well. Patient looks at this and goes, wow, that's what I want, Raj. That is exactly what I want. So great. In order to achieve this, you must have orthodontic treatment. Oh my God, how am I going to do this? Well, you have to, right? So we dictate the treatment and plan the treatment for the patients rather than the patients in some way dictating the treatment to us, because we know in some ways what is right with them, right? And this motivational mock-up allows for a co-diagnosis. When patients see that, they see the end results, and they realize actually they can see that, for example, the upper right 2 in her case poking out, and they go, yeah, I can see that would probably require a lot of drilling. Let's go ahead and have orthodontic treatment. Or the lower anterior, I was like, I'm basically going to have to extract that tooth for you. Okay, I don't want to do that. So very simple case, goes into our clin check. We go ahead and within 14 aligners, so what we call a light case in Invisalign, some minimal IPR, get the patient back into, get the teeth aligned, right? We take from a very destructive case, a very prep heavy case, and biologically, I'll call it biological assault, to a virtually no preparation case for this patient. And then the patient comes back. We scan. She's been very compliant, luckily. She comes back. We again take a scan. We send that off to our CAD designer. Our CAD designer designs the individual shells of our 3D printed veneers. We approve that, make sure that we are happy with that. And again, coming back to the idea of asynchronous communication, I love that talk from Christian this morning about that, is because that's what we're doing every single day, is literally on our phone, we can zoom in, check different angles, see the full face in the exocad software, on the exocad web view, which is what I see as the doctor, as opposed to obviously lab technicians can manipulate it quite a lot in the CAD software. Now, it's fair to say that if I was to be a CAD technician, I'd probably be the worst one, right? So I leave that to my colleagues who are specialists in this field. Yes, I can use the iTero design suite and design simple models and eggshell temporaries and things like that. Yes, I can, because I have that understanding. But I leave things like this to my colleagues. And then we go ahead and again, like the video I showed you, we 3D print the veneers, and we go ahead and fit them all in. And the great thing is that the speed of 3D printing within, I believe, using this, in this case, the sprint tray printer, within, I think, 24 minutes or 31 minutes, and really, I was having a chat earlier, 31 minutes, 36 minutes, it doesn't really matter, but what matters is this patient can come in the morning, have their scan done, and actually leave in the afternoon with all those veneers printed and fitted. And I like to think a nice, acceptable case. And she's happy. And the main thing is, it's predictable. It's the results that she wants. It's the aesthetics that she wants. It ticks all the boxes for this particular patient and for our clinic as well. And then we go ahead and take scans and get our Vivera retainers made. So what does this mean for me, right? So this basically means that, like I said, we've improved patient experience. We've decreased waiting times. We've delegated to the team. Because did I print all those veneers and finish them all off? No. That's what my nurses did, right? Did I do the CAD design? No. I used my team to do that. Increases revenue for sure, profitability, decreased chairside time. And then builds a USP. So both the clinics that I have were both new sites. So I never acquired a clinic. I never acquired a set of patients from another doctor that I bought a business of. They were completely kind of greenfield sites. So how do you then create that into a business that will grow is by creating a USP. And as a doctor, this 100% ticks that box. Now, what do I believe, or how do I feel that dentistry is going, and what kind of workflows are we going to go towards, and will dentistry go towards? It basically fits into three categories, right? You have outsourcing everything, and you'll have some doctors who will be really opposed to anything, doing anything in-house. So they will outsource everything and hopefully take a scan first and send that to you. And as a lab, if I'm talking to my lab colleagues here, will get you to even print the models, get you to do everything. Then you'll have some dentists who will think, okay, you know what, I'm going to make the investment and I'm going to have an in-house lab. And most importantly, what they'll then end up doing, if they go down this route, is probably having an in-house lab technician, which I really believe probably might be something that a lot of clinics look towards. Especially if they've invested heavily in 3D printers and milling units, etc. But most of us clinics are going to fit into the hybrid workflow, where we are going to scan, and this is where we are now. We will outsource things that are that we don't have the capability or we don't want to do. So in our clinic, for example, the ceramic work is all outsourced, right? Because I believe, especially in lead veneer workflow, we outsource that. But for all our 3D printed workflow, we bring it in-house, but we outsource the CAD work. So we're working in a hybrid kind of environment where we decide what we want to bring in, we decide what we want to outsource, and that way we're working in collaboration with our lab colleagues, right? With our colleagues in the lab. And the great thing about that is there is no animosity between my lab and me, because they know that we're all working in collaboration. We're working together, and they've increased in some ways their lab chairside time, because now they're concentrating on the bigger ticket items which I'm sending them. So they're more than happy to support me on items which they think, well, his clinic can print this in-house, and it's not going to be that much profitable for the lab anyway. So this hybrid workflow is probably going to, is becoming more normal and is going to grow even more as well. So hopefully, I started off by talking about the why, the how, and the main thing is about strategy. And because there's so much technology out there, there's so much technology to think about, whether you invest in a scanner, a milling unit, a 3D printer, the resin, there's so much to think about. Now, I always think when like I said, about technology, because you can go crazy. And believe you me, before you know it, you're going to have a shed full of stuff. And you're going to be like, why did I buy all that stuff? Right? It can become an addiction. But I always say strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. So before you invest in the technology, really see, how am I going to create a strategy around this? How am I going to actually incorporate this in my clinic? How am I going to make this into a scalable business, if that is your motive? Or how am I going to create this into in my everyday workflow? Who's going to use it? Who's my team members, etc. And then invest in it. And then when you do it that way, when you have a plan in place, technology will pay dividends in your practices and in your everyday life. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, and hopefully I've shared a little bit about my passion for digital dentistry and digital workflows and 3D printing, which isn't the future now, it's the now. So let's all get involved. Thank you.